Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Deep Dive High Five podcast. I'm your host, Wilbert, and in today's episode 69, we will deep dive into the world of pollution. As usual, we have two special guests. First, Professor Calvin. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Calvin Mulyana, and as you know, I work as an environmental scientist with the Indonesian government. Once again, thank you for inviting me. It is such a pleasure for me to explain more regarding pollution for the youth and elders.
It's our pleasure to talk with you. We all know that Professor Calvin is a busy man. So guys, sit back and relax. Also, don't forget about our special guest, Steven.
Thank you so much, Deep Dive Podcast, for inviting me. I will never forget this unforgettable moment. Since I've been a huge fan of you guys since episode 1, my family and I usually watch your video on TV, and my mom usually bursts out laughing, especially on the episode 38.
That's awesome. Thank you, Mr. Steven. So let's start with the podcast. All right, guys? So for the first question, Professor Calvin, what do you think pollution is?
Pollution, in my opinion, is defined as anything introduced into the environment that is dirty, unclean, or has a negative impact. This means that anything that harms the environment is referred to as pollution. For instance, air pollution. Because of its effects on tree survival and human health, air pollution is one of the most serious types of pollution. The term pollution has become so common in recent years that even a kid is familiar with it.
Calvin, I heard that you've made a lingo for the 3Rs movement. Can you explain it more about what it means?
To maintain a healthy environment, we must stop polluting and implement the 3Rs: reuse, reduce, and recycle.
Okay, Professor Calvin. And as you mentioned earlier about air pollution, can you deeply explain about the effects and the causes?
As I previously stated, air pollution has an impact on both tree survival and human health. But allow me to delve a little deeper. Air pollution has been linked to the development of emphysema, asthma, and other respiratory diseases, such as chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Most importantly, it can harm your hearts and cause heart disease. So try to avoid polluted areas and live in a clean environment.
Then, Professor Calvin, what are the top 10 cleanest countries in the world? You know, just in case our viewer wanted to study or move abroad.
Well, according to my research, the top 10 cleanest countries to live in are Denmark, Luxembourg, Switzerland, the United Kingdom, France, Austria, Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Germany.
Clearly, the effects of air pollution are really bad. And what causes it to occur?
Actually, the things that cause air pollution to occur are the things that we use in our daily lives, such as gas. Certain gases in the atmosphere can cause air pollution. For example, in cities, a gas called ozone is a major cause of air pollution. Ozone is also a greenhouse gas that can be both good and both bad for our environment. It all depends where it is in the Earth's atmosphere. When ozone is high up in our atmosphere, it helps block harmful energy from the sun called radiation. But when ozone is closer to the ground, it can be really bad for our health. Ground level ozone is created when sunlight reacts with certain chemicals that comes from sources of burning fossil fuels, such as factories or car exhaust. When particles in the air combine with ozone, they create smog. So basically, that's the cause of air pollution.
A great explanation. Moving on to our biggest fan, Mr. Steven. What do you think regarding the air pollution in Jakarta? Like how severe it is, as you know.
As a Jakarta citizen, I think the pollution is not as severe as what most people think. I personally enjoy the days in Jakarta without having asthma. And when people say that Jakarta is very polluted, I believe they are just partly correct. As I live in South Jakarta and I've never seen anyone actually burning trash and leaves, something like that. But unless during a large protest.
Mr. Steven, as you said that it's just partly correct, Then do you think that the government has done anything to solve this?
They did, in fact, although the government has not done much stuff about it, but I see a slight improvement. For example, the government of Jakarta has made various new public transportation options for citizens to choose, as well as a bike route in the downtown area. As I already stated, our government is not the best, but I do appreciate the work they perform.
I see. People seem to be belittling the government. Back to our environmental scientists. So, Professor Calvin, what do you think will be the best solution for it?
First, reduce the number of car journeys you take. Second, it is best to avoid burning leaves, rubbish, and other things. Third, start recycling. Very simple but efficient.
To ensure that you have all understood well, I'll recap what has been mentioned today. Pollution is a form of dangerous material that is destructive to our world and even ourselves. As the issue of today is primarily about air pollution, which has been related to the development of emphysema, asthma, and other respiratory ailments. Air pollution occurs when specific gases are present in the atmosphere. Therefore, the best method to reduce air pollution is to first, reduce the number of car journeys you take. Second, it is best to avoid burning leaves, rubbish, and other things. Third, start recycling. Right, Prof. Calvin?
Exactly, Mr. Wilbert.
So, Mr. Steven, you say that you're a huge fan of us. So why don't you close this episode for all of us?
Well, surely. That brings us to an end of episode 69, and perhaps we have taught you some vital information regarding air pollution. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends who need to be educated.
Thanks, Mr. Steven, because we deep dive into the bottom of the world of you to understand the deepest conspiracy theories and facts in the world. Host Wilbert, and thanks again for watching episode 69.